Hear the fan.
Yep, that's this one. Good morning, everybody. GM all from occupied South Carolina. And good morning to you, Jarammer.
No, South Carolina's not occupied. They have two absolutely wonderful senators who've never been married representing them.
Oh, really?
Lindsey Graham has never been married. Tim Scott has never been married.
Wow.
And as of now, both have run for president, and we swear they would make great presidents.
Ooh, let's do this. Everybody, good morning. So, how you doing this morning, sunshine? Oh, here, let me put that on the rack so I can charge. Good morning.
I'm good.
So, are you tracking on this? Mayor Eric Adams says New York City is doomed.
Yeah.
Doom, 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 doom.
I love Gurr.
For those of you who are not already fans of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, I suggest you correct yourselves because you are missing out. Doom, 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 doom.
No, that's not Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
No, it's from Invader Zim, but it's the same artist.
Yes. No. Same artist. Even some of the same types of jokes, but not the same material at all. Johnny was a competent killer.
Yes, he was.
Zim was not.
Speaking of comic books, remember Garfield?
Yes.
The void is wet and hungry. Directly referenced in JTHM, like repeatedly with the wall. But it's solid. Okay, so Merrick Adam Raybams. Okay, Mayor Eric Adams. That was legitimately some word salad, not an attempt at another chunky yogurt joke. Well, he says that New York City is in trouble. Now, I want to show y'all something that I found interesting. I have this article from the New York Times. Actually, let me double check. I think it's New York Times. I had to pull it from the archive. Yeah, it's New York Times. And, yeah, there it is. Victor J. Blue for the New York Times. Okay.
That's a name.
I've got two copies of the article. Let me disable the camera for this so that you can see it on both sides. And okay, so that right there where the little sunshines popped up, that's what the Restream bot or the Stream Elements bot does. That's one of the things it does. And I need to fix that. I don't know why the buy me a coffee thing is doing me a 404 error. Okay, so from the New York Times. little context, Mayor Eric Adams just gave a speech earlier this week, or end of last week, where he said that the migrant crisis in New York City is so severe. He went so far as to say that I have never encountered a problem in my life until now that I could not see an end to. I do not see an end to this problem. This will destroy New York City.
Gosh. Man, so many. Look, let's just start with that's racist.
No, it's not. He's black.
Right. Right. I understand.
Because there's nothing at all racist about suggesting that a person cannot be racist because of their race.
Well, okay. Obviously, there's the fact that Donald Trump said something very similar in a very Trumpian way, but he said something similar, and it goes back to a nation is borders, language, culture.
Yep.
And if you have a flood of people that come across a border, that don't speak the same language, that have a different culture, it threatens your nation. And
right, like no puedo recibir comidas del McDonald's porque el employee no puedo entender que me quiero.
Sorry, I don't.
Exactly your point.
Will you translate?
Oh, I can't order food at McDonald's because the attendant can't understand what I'm attempting to order.
Okay.
Porque el no puedo entender
No,
inglés.
I got it. Yep.
Yeah, see? It is a problem. So, Adams, cost of immigrants will destroy New York City. New York City Mayor Eric Adams made some of his strongest comments yet on his concerns about the unending flow of migrants coming to the city, warning it will upend neighborhoods and continue to strain resources. This is what I find particularly amusing right here, particularly piquant. His problem is that the migrants are putting a strain on the welfare programs.
But I thought migrants didn't do welfare. I thought migrants were some of the hardest working people, and they paid taxes and got nothing out of the system because...
Plus, you can't get welfare if you're not a citizen. Right? They would have you believe that there are no taxpayers. This is an important piece of the contention, that there are no taxpayers. Or, I'm sorry, that there are no welfare recipients who are not also taxpayers. The fact is there are no taxpayers who receive welfare. Right? That's like when a cop or a soldier talks about the taxes they pay. I was a soldier. I got paid by the government. I did. And guess what? Even though there was withholding, et cetera, I was being paid from the tax pool. So for it to be said that I was paying taxes while being paid from the tax pool is unintelligible. You know, soldiers did not pay taxes. Government employees did not pay taxes for the longest time, until I think it was the 30s, when there was a move by Democrats, because government employees at the time, especially soldiers, and it was especially focused on military votes, because the military goes so far out of their way to make sure that soldiers who are deployed have access to vote while they're out of the country. There was a big move, the argument being made that government employees should not be allowed to vote because they don't have a stake in the country, because being government employees, they don't pay taxes. And that's when the laws were changed, the rules were changed on voting. Or instead of changing the rules on voting, what they did is they started nominally charging taxes of government employees, which is ludicrous. That's like pretending that all the money that comes out of Ukraine into the Biden checking account is somehow kept separate. All funds are fungible. They're inseparable. They're the same flood of product. So, no, there are no taxpayers who receive welfare.
Okay.
And New York is full. And you want to crack jokes about Mexicans and beans and whatnot, but the fact of the matter is that the immigration problem, while it comes across the border with Mexico, is not entirely And it's starting to look like it's not even majority or primarily anymore Mexicans coming across the Mexican border. They're coming from further south in South America. They're coming from Venezuela, but more and more we're seeing African immigrants, Russians, Ukrainians, various host Asian nations. We're seeing just a swath of other languages coming across the border. And that in and of itself is additionally alarming. Now,
that's really impressive that there are people that are walking from Africa and Ukraine. And
yeah, that's interesting,
as far
too,
as I
isn't it?
know, there's only ever been one dude who walked on water, and he kind of changed all the world's religions forever because it was that impressive of a feat.
Walking on water, that is some impressive feat.
Yes.
Clean, too.
Well, I don't know. He could have been walking on... It depends on the quality of the water.
Yeah, but they do the washy thing. So, Adams, a Democrat, was speaking at a town hall organized by his office on Manhattan's Upper West Side. His opening remarks lamented the financial impact of the city's efforts to house and serve more than 100,000 migrants over the last year. So, I have this pair of articles pulled up. I say pair of articles. It's one article, but the first version, this is what the Internet Archive is for. The internet is forever. So we have this version from October 15th, 2022.
Yeah, it's that Virginia politician who's...
Yeah. And almost a year later, we're about a month short, September 8th, 2023, this revision. And usually you have to hunt and peck to find the differences. But September of last year, you got, what to know about migrants coming to New York City from the border. Okay, so it looks like the headline stays about the same, but then you've got this immediate subhead. Thousands of asylum seekers from Latin America have arrived in the city. Why are migrants coming to New York? And what will happen next? Now it's tens of thousands of migrants have arrived over the last year. Why are they coming to New York? What will happen next? We've got pictures here from a homeless shelter.
Tens of thousands and a couple of busloads from Texas.
Yeah, and they say tens of thousands, and now we're up to over 100,000 in the last year. The busloads were something like 9,000. So
I'm just making a joke. It's not.
No, I know, but I think it's worth pointing out that this problem is not. One cannot lay it entirely at the feet of Governor Abbott. Oh my gosh! Good morning, Eleanor. Oh, you do not need a new game right now, even if it has a really cool dinosaur on it. But we can take a look at it after the show. Will you go back upstairs, please? I love you. Can you wave and say, hi, Ma, hi, Granddad?
That you don't have the camera on anyway, so...
Oh.
No, look, just...
They're watching. Okay, love you. Oh. I promise my wife will be back in a week and a half. Okay, so... Since the spring, thousands of migrants have been arriving regularly at the Port Authority bus terminal in Manhattan. As of early September, more than 100,000 migrants had arrived in New York City since the spring of 2022. So this is the same article that has been essentially rewritten. They went back and just replaced the original article with a completely new one instead of writing an additional article, which strikes me as interesting. Many lack ties in the city and have sought housing in the city's homeless shelter system, but officials have struggled to find enough room. The population of the city's main shelter system broke a record set in 2019 after it exceeded 62,000 people in early October. Of that number, about 12,700 were immigrants. A year later, as the city struggles to respond to the arrival of over 100,000 new immigrants, Mr. Adams has also begun discouraging migrants from seeking refuge in New York City. And...
it's been like 25 years, 26 years or so since I read it in high school, but I could have swore there was this whole thing in this book called 1984 about how important it was to rewrite history in real time because, you know, how else could you keep the public in line? And it just, I mean, it's so on the nose. Like you said, they could have just written a second article.
Yeah. Like this is clear. There's clearly a major development. That reads to me like it should just be another article. But instead what they've done is they've replaced an older article.
Or they could have even added an addendum to the previous, but no. They deliberately rewrote it. Yeah. And it's just like,
and rewrote it almost entirely. I mean,
it's like you guys aren't creepy at all.
There are fewer word for word transcriptions here than outright replacements.
How is the city responding?
Yeah, let's look at that. And how is the city responding? And you've got 2 paragraphs and an image. How is the city responding? Holy crap!
A whole lot more paragraphs. Same image.
Says, okay, so the city's response to the influx of migrants has been fragmented and reactive as the shelter system has become more strained. That's the first sentence in the, in October of last year. Now the first sentence in that subsection is, in March, the city announced the creation of a 24-hour center to welcome migrants and a new agency to help coordinate the arrival of asylum seekers. We'll come back to this language in just a second here, asylum seekers. But the city's response has, at times, been fragmented and reactive as the shelter system becomes more strained. Wow. Like, up here, yeah, and Xander points out it's the same photo from 2022. Yep, the caption says recently arrived. Yeah. So that, I find that deeply entertaining. Now that Xander Mac's here, I did want to throw a shot across the bow since Danny and Xander are both watching. I got an email from you guys yesterday touting your growing numbers on Rumble. So to the rest of you, hey, go check us out on Rumble. Follow it, share it, and don't let these schmucks get away from us. We got to catch up and close that gap because even though we still have a YouTube channel, by some bizarre miracle, I don't know how we've managed it. The Polytech live show is TPR. Yes,
boy, you
TPR
just dead
live.
Named them. Even I quit doing that.
I did this whole thing about dead naming with Xander Mac versus Alexander McDonald, and we've been having fun with it. But yeah, they're getting away from us over there on Rumble, so I need y'all to go check us out on Rumble. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, follow, whatever they call it over there. Okay, it's subscribe. And don't forget to go watch Polytech tonight at 9:00. It's the TPS report live.
And 9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern on Rumble, and only on Rumble because somehow YouTube got them. I don't know how we've managed to stay away from it. So I think we've pretty much covered the point about the article replacement and the memory holding of the original commentary on it. And I want to talk about this a little bit. New York Mag, and I think we can kind of wrap up on this piece because this is about. We're going to look at this article from New York Mag. It says, what Eric Adams is getting wrong about the migrant crisis. Oh, in a speech last week, Eric Adams said the migrant crisis would destroy New York. Spoiler, it won't. Yes, it will. No sensible New Yorker should believe for a moment that a stream of migrants, despite the daunting financial and logistical issues involved in getting them food and shelter as required by law, can literally destroy our city. Okay. They keep using words like migrants, and I pointed out earlier the phrase asylum seekers. These are not asylum seekers. These are not migrants, right? The people that are going into these homeless shelters that are arriving in New York City, they are by wide margin, criminal aliens. You remember when AOC went and was talking? She was interrogating one of the representatives from ICE in a House hearing, and she went on and on about legal asylees and asylum seekers, and the guy just shut her down like, no, those are not the people we're talking about here. In order to be a legal asylum seeker or legal asylee, you have to come through a port of entry, file paperwork, go through background checks. There is a process. There is a process that you have to go to. And there's a reason for that process. There's a legitimate, compelling interest in that process, which is if you're suffering, let's say, religious prosecution in Afghanistan, we are not the closest safe place to flee to. If you're in desperate, dire straits, right? If my kids are hungry because I don't have milk in the fridge, am I going to go to Shop and Save to buy milk? You know where Shop and Save is, right?
No.
Of course you don't. They only exist in New England. We're in Georgia. It would be stupid for me to drive to Maine to buy milk. The same is true when you're talking about seeking asylum. That's why where asylum is sought and the process is meaningful and important. If you manage to make it all the way here from the Middle East to seek political asylum, you were never in any danger. That is a large piece of the reasoning behind that particular piece of international law. You're supposed to seek asylum in the nearest safe country. That is incredibly important. They don't come here seeking asylum. They are economic migrants. They come here because we give away free shit and they want it.
And there's the whole Marxist infused perception that we can afford to give away not only the free shit that we give away, but even more free shit if we just weren't so stingy and such evil, greedy capitalists focused entirely on material possessions. There's not just the immediate threat. This also feeds the propaganda machine of the ongoing threat that the left wishes to push about how, well, America just wants to put profits over people. And that is part of what is happening here.
Yes. So,
and then Seconder, it's like he reads my mind, because I was just waiting for a place to squeeze that in. Democrats love the immigration as long as it's red states.
Right, they're the ultimate NIMBYists. Not in my backyard.
Right.
So, I'm gonna have to go ahead and put a pin in it there because I gotta load up the boy and take him to the dentist this morning. Xander Mackin made a comment up there. We tell people all the time to go watch the Brushfire Mind. We're all in this together. We are absolutely all in this together. I was Alex, I intended y'all to take that as a fun, competitive little joke. Okay, come here. You gotta come up here. Okay. Now you can wave and say, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. And we're about to turn the show off so that we can go take Michael
I was
to
going
the
to be
dentist.
impressed by that.
That would also be an unreasonable trip.
Daddy, please make me some grits.
You want some grits for breakfast?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see what we can do. Wave at the camera, say, bye, guys. I love you.
Bye.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.